Hi, it's Jane. I thought I would crochet a little bit more on this uh, Ripple Romance blanket, so I can get it moving a little bit further along in size. So grab your project and join me, or just sit and listen. I'm just gonna talk off the top of my head, and whatever happens, happens. Um, I tell you, and I'm going to start with the political. The thing that upsets me the most about Vice President Harris is the other day she used not only the vice presidential seal, but the vice presidential house to make a statement about Trump, saying he wanted um, generals like Hitler. And the funny thing is, all the people in the room, and this is something that General Kelly supposedly had said, which is blatantly false, because everyone else in the room said never happened, he never said it. Even Mike Pence said he didn't say it, and Mike isn't even supporting him this round. So, but I find it sad that she used the vice president's seal, podium, and residence, and I believe that is a clear violation of the Hatch Act. This is a lawyer. She should know what the laws are. She says she will uphold them, yet they've done nothing but break the laws. They haven't followed the laws to this date. So, and using that the way that she did, it's just wrong. And I would say that those people that wrote that speech for her, because she was clearly reading from paper, which she can't go off the cuff, because if she goes off the cuff and says something that's not on her paper or something that's not on her teleprompter, she usually says something stupid and gets herself into trouble. But there's seriously something wrong with this woman. Like I said, I would prefer that she talk about her plan, what it entails, what she wants to do for Americans, because I don't see anything positive coming out of her, to be honest. I do know that the church, the black church that she had gone to, has already condemned what she said in the pulpit. And I don't know why they allow candidates to even step into the pulpit in the first place. Because if you aren't teaching God's word, you have no place in the pulpit. I'm sorry, just have no place in the pulpit to do that. So, and I did listen to her speech, and they had several people in the audience that called her out for some of the things she was talking about in church, as they were wrong, and those people were escorted out of the church. These were church members. They weren't just people there. They were actually church members that were escorted out by her Secret Service and police. So, I don't know. Just crazy woman, that's all I got to say. Now, you know that I have been following BSF, and this year we're doing Revelation. Had a young lady that has signed up for BSF, has never been in BSF. She's never read the Bible, and she's struggling with it. And we have all discussed with her that, she says, well, I don't know where where you get the information for this study, for the questions. It's like you already know what's in the Bible. And we're like, it's because we've read it, we study it. And trying to get across to her that she actually needs to read the Bible to know what's in the Bible, to know the Bible, for some reason escapes her. Now, I don't know if maybe she doesn't have the comprehension to read it and comprehend it, and maybe she learns better by listening. But we've all pointed out to her that the Bible app actually gives her plenty of listening. It will read the entire Bible to you. We've actually talked to her about getting into, there's a pretty good video where the gentleman, he's been doing a 3-year reading plan, and they're coming up on, I think, the 4th quarter of it, and it's Walk Devotion. But he reads the passage, and then he discusses and tells you what that passage is about. So we've tried to get her hooked up with that, but, sometimes you can lead people to water, but you can't make them drink it. So we've just been encouraging her to read, get into the Bible, read it daily, listen to it on tape, listen to it through YouTube, whatever, to get an idea of it. And she's like, well, can I get a chronological Bible? Well, of course you can. You can buy a chronological Bible online. Now, I don't have a chronological Bible because I find it just as easy to pick up a chronological plan, print it out, and then just follow that reading, day by day, and kind of explain that to her. So, I don't know. So if you folks are the praying kind, could you pray for this young lady? And just pray that she will come to know the Lord, and she will get to know her Bible by actually picking it up and getting into the Word. I'm not going to say names. The Lord already knows. So, you prayer warriors, get on that. But, yeah, we meet at my house once a week to work on the BSF study. Basically because that is a request that she had so that she can see how each of us is doing it. And I don't think she was prepared for the way that the two of us do it. We each do it a little differently, but we basically do the same thing. So before we had started, I opened up with a prayer, that the Holy Spirit would help us discern the meanings and help us to reveal what's in our hearts, those kind of things about the questions, because sometimes they ask some personal questions, so so that the Holy Spirit would convict us of any sins we might be doing or anything that we might not completely understand. And I think she was a little shocked by that. And I'm like, well, I do that every time before I sit down to read my Bible. I say a prayer before I read my Bible. And generally it is, to help me to understand this, help me apply it to my life. Those kind of things. So, I don't know. She had expressed a wanting to have something that tells you, having a class where it's 3 or 4 hours where you learn how to study the Bible. And We've already had that in Sunday school. It was an 8-week course. I don't know that she took it to heart and understood it. I mean, some of it was a little overboard. The preacher that had done the class, the pastor, he went into things like whether the Bible was about the law, whether it was about Psalms, whether it was whatever, platitudes, those kind of things. And I think that just went over her head, being someone who's not used to reading the Bible. So, but he did give quite a few good examples of how to do that and ways to do that to make it more meaningful. So, yeah. I don't know. Sometimes, like I said, you can lead people to water, but you can't make them drink it. And sometimes you're not real sure where they're coming from, what they want out of it. But she keeps expressing this wanting to learn more about the Bible. And, we keep stressing, if you want to know, learn the Bible, understand what's in it, you have to constantly be in it. And I told her, I said, it doesn't matter. I could read this verse 2 years ago and it meant something different than it does to me this year, because it revealed something, that was in my heart that maybe needed to be changed. And so, yeah, it's just trying to get her to understand that. And sometimes I think people are maybe too analytical in their thinking, and there's a part of me that wonders if that's where her thinking is. And but we figure, if we keep at it, that she will get it. She will understand it. But we keep stressing on her, she's got to be in the Word, in that Bible, reading it. So hopefully that will help her a little bit. I thought about sending out maybe some daily messages to help, but I don't know that she will follow through with that. So we're kind of trying to find a way that'll help her somewhat. If you guys have any suggestions, feel free to leave them down below. But I think the most important part is getting into the Word itself, getting to know the Word for yourself, letting God speak to you in that way. My nose is itching. And I have to tell you, the cats were rather comical while they were here. I went looking for Ronan, and he was hiding in the closet. And it made me laugh because Thomas's grandmother, whenever Jehovah's Witnesses would come to the door, she would realize that it was them, and she would run and hide in the closet. She would tell me, "Come, let's hide in the closet." And I said, "There's no reason to hide from them. Just don't answer the door." But it just cracked me up because he was hiding in the closet, had his head very buried deep in the closet, hunkered down. And it's like, Ronan, they're just people. They're not going to hurt you. And of course, Izzy, she got brave one time. She came out into the dining room where we were studying at the table. And she took off running. And of course, her little feet were going faster than her body, and she's sliding all over the floor. So it was rather comical to see that. And I told him, I said, I would imagine eventually, if you guys keep coming, that they will calm down somewhat and be okay with it. But yeah, it was rather funny. But we had a good little session. I don't know how far we got with her in understanding those things, reading them, discerning, what was meant out of that. Because some of you that have done BSF know the questions are pretty basic. Um, and some of it, comes from what you interpret those questions. Monday, I have a deposition I have to go to. So I'm really thrilled about that. It's about the case, so, with the contractor, those kind of things. It's quite a bit of fun. That's all I can say. Thrilling. I still have to try to track down all the photos and videos that I took and get all of those on DVD. I realized some of them were on my old phone, so I've got to transfer them somehow. But that's never fun, going for one of those. But other than that, we've started our Operation Christmas Child at the church, and we spent a couple of hours, folding boxes, getting them ready for people to take on Sunday, because that's when our kickoff is. And then we set up the one of the rooms that we're using for filler items. So we're setting that room up, and we think we have a somewhat a system. We are planning a packing party, and the packing party will be done in our main room. And of course, in between that, we have a wedding, so we have to keep in mind, normally what we would do is we would stack all of the boxes in the sanctuary from the different churches. So we've determined that until after the wedding, we will stack them in the storeroom that is behind the sanctuary until after the wedding, and then that next afternoon after the wedding, then we'll get them all set up like we had planned in the sanctuary. We had talked about, the pastor had talked about doing it in what we call the MPR room, which is our multi-purpose room. And I reminded him that Awana is in there, and they normally play a lot of games with balls being thrown fiercely at walls. And he did not realize that. And I said, really, you should come to one of the Awana game nights and see how they play these games. It's not safe sometimes. Some of us leaders go into the kitchen to get away from it, or out in the lobby, so we don't get mangled by the games. Yeah. A couple of kids have been hit pretty seriously by the balls. They're playing kickball, soccer, those kind of things. So, yeah. It's been interesting. And of course, this church does not have a whole big, quite a big area for storing things. They have a room that they call the prayer room where you can go in to pray with someone if you're having some difficulties, those kind of things. Or if you just want more answers, if you're new, don't understand Christ and would like to learn, about it, then they will, talk with you about that, tell you the gospel in a nutshell, help you with that. Or if you're wanting to accept Jesus Christ, there's that room for that. Other than that, there are 3 classrooms, and one of the classrooms we're using for the Operation Christmas Child, storing all the different fillers and those kinds of things. So yeah, it's like I said, it's pretty interesting. All the different things that we have for the church, that kind of thing. So, and their storage, basically their storage is they have 2 sheds, and one shed is mostly for the mowing things, mowing, weed whacking tools. They do have a garden that you can go in and get produce and things out of during the year. This year they grew quite a few flowers and herbs instead of vegetables, those kind of things. So, yeah, that's kind of where that is at. So it's pretty interesting. This church, the building was actually an auto supply warehouse, and they converted it into a church. It's a beautiful church, what they've done with it. So, rather amazing. But yeah, that's kind of what we did yesterday. Spent all day in there working on those things, and was a lot of fun. I had my follow-up with my doctor about my CPAP, and she reminded me I hadn't had my flu shot, so I've got to go in Wednesday for my flu shot. Yippee doodles. Just thrilled to death about that. But, it's important. Get those things done, that kind of thing. I've spent a little bit of time outside working on the bamboo shoots that are coming up, trying to get those killed, trying to fix the part of the drain where that backhoe, they rested that backhoe on it. I don't know if it can be fixed, but, messing with it, trying to get it back into place, back into cleared, because they dumped a bunch of dirt on it, which just annoys me to no end. But anyway, and but yeah. And trying to find time to sit down, crochet, and knit. This week, it just seems like the week has been flying by. I don't have enough time in the week. I don't understand how that works. I guess it means I'm getting older, right? Do you remember when we were kids and it seemed like the days just were long and the next week would never come? Isn't it funny how that changes once we get older? But yeah, that's kind of what I've been working on. Trying to also find some time to finish up some sewing items. I do need to, I've gotten a couple of the photos of the bags, you know, those leftover bags that I'm selling at a reduced rate, but I need to finish getting the rest of those this afternoon so I can get that up. And what I thought I would do is also do a video showing those so folks could see the video, but then I would put them up. I'm hoping, not real sure how to put it up on the community page. I don't know if you can put up a multitude of pictures. And I'd hate to do one at a time because that would take forever. I do know that I am going to put a photo album in the Jane Wynn Designs Facebook page so that folks can go there and see. And I will put a pinned post so folks can go and see those and determine if they would like to get a bag at a little bit of a cheaper price. I haven't put anything on sale recently. Was thinking about doing a sale next week, but a lot of it is finding time to get to do these things. Believe it or not, I have a lot to do. I have also maintained our local Christian women's page, so I need to get those things up as well this weekend. So it just feels like time is flying past me faster than I get it done. And then I need to get together some couple of boxes. I was going to do a couple of boxes for Operation Christmas Child. And thought I might kind of give you an idea of what I put in there so that you can see that. And yeah, it's kind of what I've got to get going. Need to break this up for a second. Otherwise, we'll run out of time on the camera. Okay, I'm back. While I was doing that, I've undone my yarn. I think I have yep, that's what I was afraid of. I've undone my yarn, picked out a new skein of yarn. And this is, I love this yarn by Hobby Lobby, and the color is Nova Scotia Sky. So I'm going to add that to the blanket, and we'll start working on that and adding in a new color. I'm going to add in 2 more colors, and then this blanket will be finished for the major part of the rose. Then I'll just need to put a border on it, and hopefully that will be done by next week. I would hope. That's what I'm shooting for, to get it done by next week. But we'll see how that goes. So yeah, I always think the fall is a little bit slower time. You know, time slows down a little bit. You have a little more time to do things. But for some reason, I'm pretty busy. And I haven't quite figured that nonsense out either. You know, how do I get myself into this kind of thing? where I'm busy, busy, busy all the time. So yeah, we've had quite a bit of interesting things going on around us this period. We had not only the workers that were working out there putting in these pipes, and they're new manholes for the sewer and water system is what they are actually. And they're meant to also drain off a lot of that drainage that comes from the top of the mountain. So those guys have been pretty busy working on getting all that kind of stuff going on along there. And then on top of that, you have inspectors coming behind them to inspect the work and whatnot. And of course, they dig these big old holes in the ground. And what they fill it with is they fill it with the dirt that they took out to put in the pipes, the new pipes, whatnot. And then they fill the rest of it with gravel. This has always been a paved road, so it's a bit of a striking difference when you're driving up and down and you come across that gravel part, because, you know, if you're driving any speed, when you hit gravel, sometimes you tend to skid a little bit. So folks around here are having to learn to drive a little slower up and down this road. And like I said, there's a couple of young folks that don't really like to slow down. You know, they wanna speed up and go faster than they need to be going. So luckily, we only have 1 or 2 children that actually live on my road. Here, the majority of the children live on the other side, up on Cedar Crest Road. And they've got nice big yards that they play in. Of course, this time of year, they kind of have to keep an eye out for the bear. Bears are still kind of roaming around, you know, looking for more food to forage at the very end here before they get their plug and go hibernate. So we do see that occasionally. And occasionally you see a bear out during the winter. It's not usual you'll see the bear. But, you know, occasionally they come out. I don't know, maybe they're like the rest of us. They have to get up and go pee. Either that, or maybe they woke up hungry and go find us another snack. Who knows? But yeah, it's been very interesting with all the changes that they've been doing and working on. So, I don't know. So, what are you guys working on? Have you got any ideas for Christmas gifts? I always start thinking about Christmas gifts this time of year instead of earlier, although I do make Christmas gifts as I go along the year. But this year, for some reason, I just did not do anything. So, trying to come up with something. And generally, they're just, you know, small little things. But yeah. And of course, I use a lot of ideas that I see online for Christmas gifts that are simple, those kind of things. I was thinking of making some casserole I hate when they do this. And my scissors are nowhere around, so I'm going to have to use my knife to cut it. Hopefully I don't cut myself. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I know I can hear y'all all yelling at me. Don't point it towards yourself. It's just one of those little utility knives that I use for cutting open packages. For some reason, it's just not cutting this yarn at all. May have to get up and go get some scissors. Oh, the horror, right? There we go. I hate when they put those weaver's knots in. I don't like the weaver's knots because I've had them come undone in the past. Tend to use that little bit of a magic knot, tie my ends together, and then trim. Of course, I'll have to trim later because I don't have scissors right here to trim. Hopefully it won't show too much. It'll hang out there enough for me to find it again. But I find when you do the magic knot, it buries itself very well. It hides itself well, so I don't have to worry. Well, maybe I'll just, no, I'll leave that alone. Stick out there. So I can trim that when when it needs to be trimmed. But I don't like that overhand, that weaver's knot. I don't think it keeps well. Like I said, I've had things come apart when I've crocheted that in. Sometimes I've done a little Russian join, but I find, like I said, I like the magic knot. It works well, strong. Have yet to have anything come apart with it. So that's my preferred knot when I am crocheting along on a project. Do you have a favorite way of adding in yarn when you need to add it in, or when you see those kind of things? What's your favorite method? I had watched Billy's video of some of the things with her apartment and whatnot. And it just, those kind of things just tick me off. That is one thing. The landlord that we had was that way. She was extremely cheap. She wouldn't fix a lot of things. And, she just expected you to live with it, those kind of things. We had a door that had a huge draft. We had asked her to place something along the bottom of the door that could help stop that draft. And she would not do it, and she would not allow us to do it. So we just had mainly, a draft keeper over it with towels over it to keep a lot of that cold from coming in under the door. It still seeped in. My side of the room was always cold because it was right by the living room door. And she had tried to pass these off as energy efficient apartments. in which they are not. So, yeah, she is just one of those characters you just think there's no rhyme or reason to what she's doing. These apartments are her investment. I don't know why she would treat them so badly and do such a horrible job with them. But, you know, I guess people are people and they're going to do what they're going to do, right? Going to behave the way they want to. I had a friend the other day ask me if I had ever considered turning some of these bedrooms into, because I have 3 bedrooms, turning the other 2 bedrooms into like a bed and breakfast. And hadn't really thought about it. And she was talking about one of her friends that does do that, that brings in pretty good money year round doing it. And I told her I hadn't really thought about that. Don't know what the licensing would cost, those kind of things. And there's no way to really block this off to where they would have just access to that and not access to the rest of the house. Which, basically that wouldn't bother me. They'd come and go and, whatnot. That wouldn't bother me all that much. The only thing is, they wouldn't be allowed to be having parties in the house, that kind of thing. So I don't know how well that would go over. But if it's just someplace looking for a bed to sleep for the night so they can go to a football game, basketball game, baseball game, that might be something to look into. Of course, my sister rents out her room to traveling nurses. She has an upstairs that she's basically divided, and it's nice. She has a lot of living space in her house upstairs. They each have a small room they can use like a living room, and they've got a bedroom, and they have a bathroom, and they're full baths, both of them. And then they can have microwaves or whatever they want there. But then she always lets them come down and eat. She normally prepares a meal like it's a bed and breakfast for them, that they're welcome to eat, whatnot. And some of them, a couple of them, she's had one that she's had a couple of years, now also gives her a certain amount of money for groceries each month, and she just comes down and, eats out of the kitchen, that kind of thing. And works for her. So, I don't know. Thought about picking her brain. Really hadn't planned on turning my home into a business, but, whatever. Sometimes you do things you didn't think you would do. But, yeah, that's something to think about, isn't it? Then again, I'm kind of a private person. I'd like to come sit out in the living room, watch TV in my pajamas. And I don't always feel like closing the door. The cats have free range of the house, so I'm not sure how that would work. I'd have to shut off those bedrooms. So, I don't know. So what are some of the different crochet trends that you're seeing? It seems like we always go in these trends. Like there was that trend at one point to do the everybody had to do a pocket shawl. So there was that trend for that. And then there was the trend for everybody making octopuses or, loaf cats or something like that. Is there a trend that you're seeing this year? Maybe color trends? I haven't really watched those kind of things to see what the colors of the year are. Of course, I never really got into that anyway. Mine were whatever colors they are. They are. Let's enjoy those colors. So, and I had to go looking for my glue gun. I had a project I wanted to do. Needed a glue gun, and of course I'd packed the glue gun up with all the glue sticks and couldn't find the glue gun. Finally found it. So that was rather interesting. It wasn't where I thought it was. I thought it was in the garage. It was actually in the house in one of the rooms. And had written right on top of right in front of the box, glue guns, glue sticks. How do you miss something like that? But then again, I'm somebody, I can put things away that I think are safe, and I'll never see them again. I did that with a bunch of things I had gotten. I'd gotten a couple of balls and things for my Operation Christmas Child boxes. I kind of had an idea that I wanted to do. And I will tell you, what I'm hearing this year is that kids, boys 5 to 9, there aren't a whole lot of boxes for boys 5 to 9. So I'm kind of concentrating on that. And so yeah, it's been interesting. Of course, I did finally find the balls that I had purchased. And I had purchased some hair ties to make some scrunchies and things like that. And found them last month. Well, I bought them last month so I could work on them here and there, like when I was out places. I don't do it during church or Sunday school because I'm normally taking notes. But sometimes if I'm at different events, concerts, or at a talk somewhere, then I will crochet different items like that, and I choose to crochet small items so that I have an opportunity to get some of those things done. Soap sacks, those kind of things are easy to do. So, yeah, it was funny because I couldn't find them, so I bought more hair ties. Of course, the minute I bought more hair ties, I found the hair ties. So, hair ties and those balls. So I'm set. Now if I can just remember to keep them someplace where I can find them, right? I'm telling you, mine just goes crazy sometimes thinking different things, going different places. And sometimes I wonder if I have ADD anyway. I always joke about having craft ADD, but, and I love yarn. Yes, I do. I love yarn. So who knows? Who knows what's wrong with me? I'm not sure even doctors know. But yeah, it's been rather fun, rather interesting getting, to see all these different things and see how it runs. And I'm also doing the whole thing of researching the Medicare for the Advantage program I want to be under. That's always a fun thing because you never quite understand what it's saying sometimes. So I do usually make an appointment with someone that is an ombudsman or someone who can help me determine which the best plan for me would be. And that's always important. But I just find it annoying the way they have those Medicare books set up. They're so difficult to determine. There's no map in there to tell you what your area is, the different plans that are available to you. You kind of just have to go from plan to plan, put in your zip code to figure out what's what and determine which plan's the best. And it's just a royal mess sometimes. Should be a whole lot easier. You know what I mean? It's as bad as when I was on Obamacare, having to search for those different plans. It was just about the same thing over and over again. And yeah, it's just awfully big pain in the butt. And then on top of that, when you look at insurance for pets, which I think is probably a good idea nowadays, that too, finding a plan for your pet that works for you is crazy. You never know what's going to happen. Then there's a part of me that says, should I spend that much a month per pet? Or maybe I should consider putting that money back into a savings account instead that would go for the cats. It's anybody's guess, right? Because I think for a lot of things, they don't pay the big price items off anyway. I know very few plans offer getting the usual immunizations, those kind of things, on a regular basis. So, but insurance, you never know whether it's a good deal or whether it's not a good deal. So, guess we just take things one day at a time, right? Figure out what works the best for us. And I have to tell you, my brother-in-law is like, I don't know why you would pay insurance for a pet. He's like, they get sick, you take them to the vet. Vet can't do anything for them, you put them down. Of course, he is a farmer. He has cows that are sick and antibiotics and whatever they do doesn't work for him, he puts them down. So, there's that. But yeah. Well, I think I have chatted on long enough. I have a few things I have to do. Got to get laundry done. So I've got to get that done. Need to finish taking those pictures, get those uploaded, all that fun stuff. So I will see you guys again soon. I hope you have a great day, great afternoon, great evening, great weekend. Whatever's left of it, seeing as you'll see this Sunday. But in the meantime, I'll see you again Monday. Everybody have a great week. Bye for now.